Hello, and welcome to my project. This week, I made a project about video games, and not just anything about video games, I made it about music in video games. In this video, I will attempt to do three things. 1. I will analyze certain music from 3 video games. 2. I will examine in what context they're used in the game. And 3. I will attempt to explain why these certain types of music are used in these different contexts. The first video game I'll be talking about is Super Mario Bros. In the game, Mario, a plumber from the kingdom, must go through water, caves, and castles while avoiding enemies and pits in order to save the princess. When Mario enters a castle, an intensive music bursts out of nowhere. Listen. So what makes this music sound so intense? Let's look at the first bar for a minute. As you can see, the music is extremely fast and with a lot of chromaticism. Chromaticism is in short is a use of notes outside a musical scale. So imagine that instead of playing all the white keys, you'd be playing both the black keys and the white keys all together. Chromatic notes are rarely used in composition a lot, but here we see them used all the time, and in a rapid tempo. This is probably the reason why it sounds so anxious. In Mario, there is a time limit to each level. Near its end, there is a time warning sound. Listen. What you have just heard is the use of both chromatic notes again and tritones. Tritones are certain intervals between 2 notes. The tritone interval is so dissonant it's been often named the devil in music. Because of this, it is a perfect interval to warn the player and to inflict pressure on him. In conclusion, I see there being 2 kinds of music in Mario. One is background music, which changes depending on Mario's environment. The other kind of music is what I like to call situational music, which changes depending on the actions or events that are currently happening. Legend of Zelda, a game about action, mystical adventure, and once again saving a princess. The game is very different from Mario in the sense that now the player can freely roam around the world instead of just going from left to right in the screen. Thus, this allows the use of music in broader contexts. What you're about to hear is a player encountering a foe. Notice how the music turns darker and more dissonant as the player continues to fight. This type of music is great because it can make the player feel more heated in the middle of the battle. This type of musical implementation is something that many future games will adapt, including all the future Legend of Zelda games. In addition to this, there is also the use of cinematics within the game. This allows the use of more film-like score or music. In Legend of Zelda and Super Mario Bros., there is a lack of overall musical structure for the game. It's just a bunch of pieces going in and out when they need to. This is where Celeste shines in. From the first few levels of the game, we are introduced to the basic motifs that will repeat throughout the entire game. What you are about to hear and see is a motif from the very first stage of the game. This is just a foreshadowing of what will come as the main background music for the final stage of the game. Using motifs like this throughout the game can make it feel much more cohesive as well as dramatic. It also gives the final stage, for example, a much more ultimative ending. I hope that you've learned in this video about the role of music in video games.